Content warning. On this podcast, we discuss sensitive issues, including, but not limited to, swearing, tasteless jokes, situations of a sexual nature, and drug use. This podcast is not intended for children. Welcome to BiblioWrecks, where we read the world's worst stories. I'm Bam Bam.
And I'm Bugs.
And we're going to be wading through the guts and gore today.
We are doing a book called Jamrach's Menagerie by Carol Birch.
Oh boy.
Unlike me, I'm going to give you a content warning. I innocently, sweetly read this book expecting adventure and fun.
And ships, which you are oddly passionate about.
Oddly like ships, yes. Despite having a severe fear of water. I love reading ocean adventure books. The content warning for this book are animal cruelty.
Oh boy.
And cannibalism.
Oh, I wasn't expecting that one.
You don't until it happens.
Well, I mean, I watched Yellow Jackets this year, so I'm pretty inured to cannibalism, so can't wait.
Okay, good. I am feeling a little salty.
Because the salt water.
So I'm actually going to read excerpts from the awful bits, and you're going to experience the awfulness with me.
Yay, I've come for an experience.
If you're squeamish, don't listen to this. If you have a sensitive stomach, or a sensitive heart, or care about animals, or fellow humans, don't listen to this.
If you're a good person in any capacity, if you have like any general amount of empathy.
I'm just saying, don't come back and complain at me that you listened to this and had nightmares.
Yeah, big warning.
Yeah. Not meant for children. I'm actually going to start us off with the first paragraph of the book.
Okay.
I was born twice. First in a wooden room that jutted out over the black water of the Thames, and then again 8 years later in the highway, when the tiger took me in his mouth and everything truly began.
Intense.
And also, it puts you right there, right in the middle of everything. This author's writing style is obviously first person, call me Ishmael.
Yeah.
So we know he survives because he's the one telling us the story.
Yeah.
Several times in the story, I'll point out how this is a hindrance because we're coming from the point of view, especially at the beginning, of an 8-year-old boy. So you're experiencing what he's experiencing, and then you get told what actually happened later.
Sounds like a lot of agonizing detail.
Agonizing detail. Yes, and I skipped so much detail. I pluck out the actual things that happen. Chapters and chapters of descriptions of places and dreams and hallucinations.
So do you think a different perspective would be better, or just using the one perspective?
I think a third-person perspective would be better.
Do you think that you could get like the same amount of, I don't know,
intensity?
Like that kind of, I don't know words today.
That is what we do. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate. I do that a lot.
I will say, the story is gripping.
What do you think it would be like that personal? Like, would it feel as personal from a third person's perspective?
Possibly not, and that's possibly why she chose to write this way. Because you're in it. You're feeling what he's feeling, and it's incredibly intense and overwhelming. And I was sucked into it. All 3 times I've read this book now. Sucked into it, in the middle of it, feeling everything. So it's very effective to me emotionally. But the book itself, the structure, is really odd, and that's also a problem. So Jamrach's Menagerie is about Jaffe Brown, a boy who's growing up in poverty in Victorian England. He's a tosher. Do you know what that is?
I don't.
He walks through the sewers and picks coins out of shit.
Oh.
Like, he is dirt poor.
Right.
Him and his mom live off of nothing.
Was Victorian England people just eating a lot of coins, or just coins would get dropped?
They would just get dropped and, fall down in the sewers.
Okay.
Also, in the road, the sides of the road that would go into the sewers, like the sewers would be open,
Right.
not closed systems like we have. And so stuff would fall into, rainwater and run down and go end up in the sewers too.
Okay.
And they didn't have nice little traps and wire mesh to stop your ring, from falling down and going down.
So, destitutely poor child.
Yeah, like you could find, a few pennies a day. That'd be enough for a meal, and then you get up and dig through
more shit
for the next day. Yeah. His mom does odd jobs, and they share a mattress in a tiny room. He doesn't know who his dad is, and his ma just occasionally, oh, his name was this, oh, his name was that. He never knows his dad. The man who occasionally sleeps with his ma beats her up one day. Scares are really bad, so they move away so he can't find them. They move to Ratcliffe Highway, which is a cleaner than the edge of the Thames, but still dirt poor. I really like how she describes the world through Jaffe's eyes. The people packed in, all sorts, rough sorts, poor sorts, sifting their way through heaps of old worn shoes and rags, scrabbling about like ants, pushing and shoving and swearing. Fierce old ladies, kids like me, sailors and bright girls and shabby men. Everyone shouted. First time I walked out and all that, I thought, blimey, you don't want to go down in that muck, and if you were small, you could go down very easy. Her way of writing is stream of consciousness and adjectives.
I kind of like it.
I like it too. Sometimes it is like, it just puts you right there. You see and hear everything.
It's like a delicious word salad instead of just a bad word salad.
It really is. It really is. And I love historical novels. I love historical fiction. So you're like right here in Victorian England. This is, Oliver Twist, but with raw, coarse language in it, where we say words like shit and piss and whore and stuff like that. Jaff does odd jobs, and one day he gets sent to buy a plug of baccy from the shop down the street. The street goes quiet, but he doesn't notice because he doesn't know this road very well. They just moved from the edge of the Thames to Ratcliffe, and so it goes quiet, and he doesn't notice. He's 8.
Everyone else is aware of the tiger that got loose from the circus, and
Yep.
he's not.
Yep. He looks up and sees a beautiful giant cat. The sun himself came down and walked on earth. Gorgeous, right? The writing is just gorgeous.
Really good.
Jaffe is entranced by the tiger's beauty, and he walks up to him and pets his nose. The tiger picks up his paw, knocks Jaffe over, and picks him up in his mouth.
As a tiger is wont to do.
Jamrach, the owner, is chasing the escaped tiger and rescues Jaffe and catches the tiger. But what I just said in 3 sentences takes several pages of adjectives to get through.
Yeah.
Because we see spinning sky and blobby faces and a girl smile, and later other people tell him that's what actually happened. Because we're experiencing it through Jaffe's eyes, it takes pages, my feet being dragged along the cobbles, and now my toes are bleeding, and now I hurt, and now I'm cold, and now I cry.
Yeah, this is his version of how he remembers it years and years later.
Yes.
So he's added on to it in his mind over time.
Yes. And so that paragraph I read to you, it's beautiful. But then after you read that for chapters, it becomes like you're gorging on Tootsie Rolls.
Yeah.
And you've had 5 pounds and you're like, can we just say what happened?
Get to the point.
Please just say what happened. Jamrach is scared that Jaff got hurt, but he's okay. He picks him up and carries him home to his ma. He gives the ma some money, and the next day he gives Jaffe a job. Because of course it's like, oh God, if my reputation gets destroyed as someone who lets cats eat little boys, I'll get run out of town.
I better pay some hush money and give this kid a job so
Yes.
I can keep an eye on him.
Get in the good graces of this mom so that she doesn't get me in trouble. And he literally watched a little boy, completely unafraid, walk up and pat a tiger's nose. So he's like, this little kid's kind of special. Now, it's interesting. This part was based on historical fact.
You know, as you were telling it, I thought it sounded very familiar. I was like, I know I haven't read this, but I know this story.
Yes. Jamrach was an actual animal trader who lived in London, and one day his tiger got loose, and a little boy walked up and patted it on the nose, and he rescued him. So I thought that was really interesting of how she builds this huge story on this beginning, just little vignette of truth.
Like, it's a story she heard, and she also built on top of it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. It's neat. It's real neat.
This book pushes really hard, like philosophically, on like chance and luck and whether or not God is in control and the diverging path taking us to unknown places. And I feel really, really hard like it's trying to make a point when the work is fiction that the author planned.
Yeah, it doesn't quite track the same once you actually get to thinking about it like that. But I guess the broader question is destiny or random fate or whatever.
And that's like the philosophical thread through the whole thing is Jaffe feels like it's just luck. And other people are like, it's God, it's this, it's destiny, things are meant to be.
But in the case of this book, in actual reality, it's definitely, there is a plan.
There's an author.
Yeah.
Who did all this. On purpose. So, like, just to give you, like, how kind of heavy-handed that is, here's a quote. "The tiger made me. When my path and his crossed, everything changed. After that, the road took its branching way willy-nilly, and off I went into the future. It might not have been so. Nothing might ever have been so. I might not have known the great thing that came to pass. I might have taken home Mr. Rubens' baccy and gone upstairs to my dear ma, and things would have gone altogether differently."
Yeah, laying it on pretty thick right there. When in actual, like, the actual scene itself probably took like 3 seconds of him being grabbed by the tiger, and then the guy saving him from the tiger. It probably took a lot less actual time. So there's a lot of like slowing down in the moment, putting a lot in a little.
The other problem is this story is being told by Jaffe, old man, but when we're reading the story from 8-year-old Jaffe's perspective, he sounds like an 8-year-old talking. Yeah. He doesn't sound like an old man until you get to paragraphs like that, where it's like the old man commentary breaking through, and we're not experiencing what the 8-year-old boy is experiencing. So that part is a little, it just changes tone, and it's hard to tell who's actually narrating.
Yeah, it does feel a little disjunctive.
It does. The next day, Jamrach sends Tim Linver, a bigger and older boy of 10, to fetch Jaff. He buys Jaff a raspberry cream puff, and he tells Jaff the story on the street is that Jaff got eaten by a tiger. "You're eaten," he said, so they say. "Do I look it? It's all round that you're eaten up and just your head left on the stones. I saw it, my head on the stones. It made me laugh." "Just your head," he said, "and your hands and feet, and some bits of bone, I suppose, gnawed ragged. Didn't hurt a bit," I said. He meets all of the animals at Jamrach's, who's an exotic animal trader in London. Jaff loves all of the animals. The animals are described really well, and they come to life on the page. This author is not very good at describing humans. I don't get the sense of knowing any of the other characters except for Tim, but all of the animals, you feel like you know them. She's really good about describing landscapes and places, but the characters in the story are just really unimportant. They don't feel real.
Yeah. Could it be that the author is coming at it from like a place of not really expecting you to have as much empathy for animals as people? So maybe they're just like emphasizing that a little bit harder.
I kind of felt Jaff himself as a character loves animals and connects with them very deeply, and he doesn't connect with other humans deeply, and that's where that comes from.
I can vibe with that. Yeah, I can definitely see that with like a 8-year-old kid.
Yeah, and even as an adult, he is still just has an affinity with animals and not so much other people. That was a criticism I saw in online reviews, was it felt like the other human characters were just cardboard dolls moved around on set and things happened, but we don't really care.
Right.
But going back through it, I'm like, that could have been a choice based on the character who's telling the story. Because little 8-year-old boys don't really look at other people and see them as people yet.
Yeah.
Jaff takes the job. He's going to be cleaning out the yard with Tim, and he works at Spoonies in the evening as a pop boy serving beer and stuff. So with his mom working at the sugar factory and him working these 2 jobs, they actually have enough money to like pay their rent and eat. So he's moving up in the world.
Yeah, moving out of poverty at the very least.
Yeah, into survivable poverty. Jeff loves all the animals. Tim is older and has been there for a few years, so he lords it over him and makes him do all of the worst jobs. Tim is a little shit. He's the only other character that feels real, and that's because he's a little snot I want to slap.
Yeah.
He leaves the hard stuff. He'll wander off and go play and leave Jeff to do the hard work. But Jeff can't leave because this has just gotten them out of poverty, and he knows what it's like to be hungry every night.
Yeah.
So he can't just wander off. And now that Tim's not having to do every job by himself, he can, kick off and fool around.
Yeah.
One night, he locks Jeff in after everyone else has left and leaves him stuck in the shop overnight.
Oh. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, because he was locking him in for safety and said he was going to go down to the fish stall and buy them dinner and bring it back. Instead, he's gone all night.
Right.
And, Jeff's an 8-year-old little boy and gets scared and goes running down a hallway, and his light goes out and he hits his head and falls down and gets knocked out.
Bad luck on this kid.
Yeah, he's got bad luck. So then the next morning, the guy opening the shop is like, "What are you doing here? Get out of here," And he's an adult and he doesn't care.
Yeah.
And then Jeff catches Tim and he's like, "I'm going to tell on you." And Tim's like, "No, he'll fire me. Don't. And please, I'll give you my telescope." He's like, "Fine." Because that telescope went around the world twice and it's an exotic, amazing thing. But then halfway through the morning, Jeff faints because he hasn't had breakfast.
Right.
He hasn't had sleep. So he passes out. And when they bring him around, Jamrach's like, "What's wrong with you? Are you sick?" And he's like, "I haven't had my breakfast and I haven't slept." And it comes out. Jamrach is furious, sends Jaffe down to Tim's mom's house and gets fed and bathed and taken care of and babied. And they let Tim on, but he actually shapes up a bit because he actually got in real trouble that time. But that's just an example of how Tim is a little snot. He has golden curls, he's older and bigger and beautiful, and everyone just forgives him and loves him anyway. He does go and tell Jaffe's second job that it was Tim's fault, so they don't fire him. So that part was okay.
Yeah.
So he has these jobs, he loves his work, but he dreams of being a sailor.
What year is this taking place in, roughly?
I think 1850s.
Okay, so that was past the age of pirates, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't... there's Eastern Ocean
there have
pirates and
always
stuff.
been
There's
pirates.
always pirates.
But not the golden age of pirates. I was trying to figure out what kind of sea dreams he has.
I always knew I'd be a sailor. In my cradle, playing with my toes, I knew it. What else could there ever have been? The sailors had made my blood move before I was born, I now believe. As my mother stood one night upon the shit-smelling Bermondsey shore with me in her belly, the sailors had sung out there across the great river, and their siren song had come to the shell-pink enormity that was my listening ear, newly formed in the amniotic fluid. Or so I believe. And there again is old Jaffe looking back and thinking, of course I had to go to sea. I had no choice.
Yeah, again, playing with fate and misremembering and making stuff up just because it's poetic or something.
Yeah. And this book is full of tragedies. But these tragedies were meant to be.
Yeah.
Because it could not be any other way. Jeff is friends with Tim and Tim's twin sister, Ishbel. Mr. Jamrach sends Jeff and Tim to school 2 days a week so that they can read and eventually work in his office. Jeff is really good with animals, and we get to know them better. I don't write down all the animals, but there's an old gorilla that has the sad eyes, and he's so gentle you could walk in and talk to him. And there's a bird room that's always silent. The birds don't talk because they're in little tiny cages and they're sad, and he goes in and gets depressed.
Yeah.
And, the poor little Tasmanian devils who yap and cry, but they're little dogs. They're not actually devils. And but so he goes, and the little elephants with their snake-like noses swinging about and they're hypnotic. And he really does That
actually is a thing that captive elephants do. They'll actually teeter left and right, and they don't know exactly why they do it, but it could be just because they're bored, or it's really hard to say. Mm-hmm. So the Tasmanian devils are dogs?
Yeah.
Like they're actual dogs? They're just painted or something?
They're related. I think they're canines. They're related to dogs. Yeah, they're just.
No. They're marsupials.
Are they? They are?
Yeah, they're vastly unrelated to dogs by a lot.
Am I thinking of Tasmanian tigers?
They're also marsupials.
I don't know why he calls them dogs then. Yeah, looking at them, they look
like
rats.
they definitely look kind of doggish. I mean, most animals have like a vaguely
so
rat-like.
They're the size of small dogs.
Yeah, maybe that's what he meant. They're just like roughly dog-sized and shaped. So I wasn't sure if that was your input or the book's input.
No, that was the book's input, calling them little dogs. It says the Tasmanian devils are just little dogs. And then I hadn't looked up the picture.
Yeah. I mean, as far as like
rats.
Yeah. They're like really violent possums.
He just describes them as sad little whining dogs.
I mean, like from a kid's perspective, yeah, effectively they are just small whiny dogs.
Probably.
So, yeah, I understand that.
So we skip 3 years. End of one chapter, start a new chapter. We skip 3 years. He is now 11. The twins are 12 or 13. The fair is in town. The twins and Jaff plan to go to see all the sights.
Who are the twins again?
Tim and Ishbel.
Oh, okay, yeah. I
so
remember.
Tim is the one who he works with, and then Ishbel is his twin sister.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Ishbel has to dress up like an older girl and put on makeup and sing and dance on the stage at a pub, and she hates it because she's still a girl, but she's forced to act much older and flirt and sing, and she hates it. So she's whining and saying she's not going to go to work tonight. No one can make her go and dance and sing and smile. And they're like, let's just go to the fair and have fun. They get to the fair, and Tim teases Jaff to get on the slippery pole. And it's just a pole covered in grease, and if you can hang on for a minute, you get a guinea. But because it's covered in lard, there's no way to hang on. And everyone tries. You know, you pay a penny, you could win a guinea. So Jaff gets on, he hangs on for 2 seconds and falls off, and the whole crowd laughs. Because that's the whole point, is to watch people make fools of themselves. But because Tim is the one who teased him until he did it, he comes out and starts beating on Tim, and they get into a tussle and start punching each other. Until someone comes and throws a bucket of water on them like they're fighting dogs, and they run off. So Ishbel is already in a bad mood, and so she takes the money they have and says, Tim, you little shit, get out of here. And she takes Jaff to go on the swinging boat ride without Tim.
Oh, is this a youthful romance?
We have the start of a youthful romance of 10 and 12. They're children. They've known each other for a long time. But he adores her and loves her. And she's like, little brothers. But he, hates the little brother right now. So little brother's friend is much more fun to hang out with. They go to a chapel and light candles for her brothers because their 2 older brothers died at sea. Her and Tim's dad, had come back from sea, but with brain damage. So he sits next to the fire whittling mermaids all day. He's
catatonic to
basically
some degree.
catatonic, yeah. So they go and find this little half-sunk fishing boat on the river, and they lay there and talk, drink, eat a couple strawberries, and then Tim comes and finds them, and all's forgotten and forgiven because they're kids, and that's how it is.
It's been like an hour.
It's been an hour. They're over it. Ishbel is like, I don't want to go. No one can make me. And they're like, everyone has to work. I get up at 5 to go shovel shit every day. Come on, Ishbel. What you're doing is no worse than shoveling shit in a yard. So they
They're
go
all like
home.
10. They sound like me.
Yeah. I mean, they're 12 years old and have been working most of their life.
Yeah.
So they go home. The mom offers Ishbel a drink of gin to take the edge off because she knows that this is really hard. It sucks.
These kids already got full-time jobs, starting their drinking problems early.
Yeah. I mean, the kids all smoke pipes. It's, this is what their lives were like,
I mean, it was the Victorian era. Yeah. Nobody was going to stop.
No.
Children were just little people.
You were no longer a child after the age of 4 or 5. You were big enough to work. So Ishbel is like, no, I'm not going and you can't make me. And the mom slaps her. And this time she slaps her mom back. And this is like their first grown-up fight.
Oh.
And And the mom bursts into tears, and Tim goes over and hugs his mom and is like, it's okay, Mom. Ish, get over it. And then Ish is mad because it's like, you always stick up for Mom because he's the golden child who everyone loves and forgives. And then because she's
been guilted into it,
she goes and gets dressed, and Jaff is like, I'll walk you to work. And they're like, no, just go home. It's fine. Just get over it. Meh. So now we have the old man, Jaff, looking back because little Jaff, 11-year-old, 10-year-old Jaff, goes home and he pulls out the telescope that he got off of Tim as, the apology. And he looks through his telescope at, the sky, what stars are possible to see, windows, that kind of stuff. Old Jaff talks about how far away things are memories and fuzzy, but with the telescope, things come into focus. Quote, it's the same when you look at the past. Far away, the white wings twinkle. Nothing can be known. Further in, details. The riggings of great ships that web the darkening sky. Rooftops clear on the inner eye, magnified. And sometimes a pang, up close. So we still just get a lot of commentary. And it's just, some of that, it just feels so heavy-handed. And we just aren't allowed to, for more than a couple pages, just be in Jaff's head, be with Jaff as a kid.
It also seems kind of vague, too. Like, it almost seems like he's saying, like, once you get to looking at it, it's worse than how you initially remember it. Or memory, I don't know whether he's saying that memory is just imperfect or something like that also.
Right.
Which this entire story is just his memory of it, so now I don't trust the narrator.
Right. Next chapter, Jaff's 15 now.
Big time jump.
Big time jump. He works in the yards with the animals and has a new boy helping him muck out stalls. And Tim works in the office with paperwork because he's too dreamy to work with the animals, and that's the spot he's best to be kept in. Tim was still casually cruel. Quote, he could still be a swine, but he was just one of those the world forgives. Some are. One day, a man comes to Jamrach's and he commissions Jamrach to get a dragon for Mr. Fledge. Mr. Fledge is an eccentric rich man who wants animals that no one has ever owned before. And there's tales about a dragon seen walking out of a forest on an island east of the Java Sea.
Oh, so Komodo.
Komodo dragon. Tim is very excited because he is going to go with Dan Reimer, their trader who actually goes on the expeditions, to catch a dragon.
They're Chris Pratt from Jurassic World.
Oh, I guess so.
He was the raptor wrangler.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dan Reimer is a very good man. He's very kind and very sweet and really smart. Dan explains that there's tales of a dragon of sorts and shows him a sketch that looks like a crocodile with long legs. The aura. Jeff insists a real dragon flies and breathes fire. Dan just shrugs. He's like, don't know what to tell you, man.
I haven't seen one. I don't know.
He's heard a tale from a guy who knows someone whose dad got eaten by one.
Who initially lied.
So they're going, but Mr. Fledge owns a whaling ship, and the whaling ship on its whaling journey around the world is going to take a detour and go try to catch this dragon. But Dan is only taking Tim. And so Tim gets to prance around the office with his nose in the air for a couple of days. He gets to go on an adventure. So Jeff lets him have his glory and then quietly goes down to the whaling ship and just signs on his crew.
Yeah.
Because...
I mean, that's what he wants to do. Yeah, he's expressed that he always wanted to run on a sailing ship, and there's no reason for him not to.
Yep.
I mean, he's a kid with a job. He wasn't married to that career, looking at taking care of really sad animals. Yeah.
Why would you muck out stalls every day when you could go around the world and catch a dragon?
Yeah.
What 15-year-old boy would stay home? Jeff's ma is furious at him and just, like, scared out of her mind. And he was just too excited. Nah, Ma, I'll be fine. Nah, Ma, I'll be fine. I'm so excited. I love this quote. Poor old Ma. You'd never have take her for a child now. She'd thickened and grown weather-beaten, and her hair was going gray at the sides. Still walked like a sailor, though. I always knew it would come to this, she said, with her sore-looking eyes and me feeling bad. I loved my Ma. To me, she would ever and always be a warm armpit in the night.
Yeah, I don't know. Context-wise, that is very funny. confused listeners, Bug's son, Rory, was a little sick yesterday, and it's also like 95 degrees. And he fell asleep in her arms and literally fell asleep with his face in her armpit.
Yep, and was like a little heater, and we both fell asleep, and the AC wasn't on, and we woke up just boiling hot, both of us, with him in the armpit.
So you can relate.
Yep. And I'm sure Rory could too. Your ma is just the place where you fall asleep in her armpit and everything's all good in the world.
I can also see him jumping on a random ship to go see a dragon.
Oh my god, yes. Oh, the phrase at the end of that, I don't know where the little quote was, but it was like, what are boys for except to break their mother's hearts? Like, of course, Victorian England, you can get on a ship and sail away. You would do nothing else. They'll be gone 2 or 3 years because they're actually, going on a whaling ship, around the whole world and then coming back. They have like a couple weeks to get on the ship and leave. So Tim, Jaff, and Ish are hanging out at a pub and debating whether the dragon is real or not. Ishbel puts her arm around Jaff's neck. Quote, 2 years since we'd started cuddling, but she never let me kiss her. She was driving me mad. So kind of on again, off again romance, but he's 15 and she's 17, and they're still just,
Yeah. I feel like that's still appropriate at that age. So, yeah.
He asks if Ishbel's happy to be rid of him, and she replies that Jaff's to take care of Tim and look after him. Jaff's ma tries to get her new boyfriend, Charlie, to talk Jaff into staying on at the fish stall. Not happening.
Yeah.
They all say goodbye. You'll bring him back safe, Jaff, Ish says to Jaff. They pull off. 8 of the crew on the ship were green and had never sailed before. They're on the whaling boat, pulling out of the port,
Thames.
like the harbor. They're just pulling out of the harbor. 8 of them are green and have no idea what they're doing. So they're just kind of running around, grabbing at stuff.
Being in the way.
They know nothing. They have no idea what to do. And this is where I get excited because we finally left land. Stuff's gonna happen. Quote, Mr. Rainey, a clatter of boots and a horse-like snorting, landed between us from above like a god-thrown thunderbolt. What do you think this is? He demanded. A garden party! He clouted the boy on the head and sent him flying. Cretins! He roared, stomping away from the deck, bandy-legged and malevolent. God knows why he didn't hit me. Too zealous in his progress toward the next target, I suppose. Some poor boy above in the rigging. You fucking imbecile! He screamed, head back. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, and all your fucking bastard kin! Get down here! I'm like, yes, we're on an ocean. We're sailing away.
We're out of proper society and working in, I don't know, it sounds like a construction crew. I've had this job before. I get it.
We're 1/5 of the way through the book. We've set sail and things are actually going to start happening, right?
One would think. Well, I mean, they're going to be on the ocean for a long fucking time. So I imagine most of it's going to be pretty monotonous and then sudden intense situations that they have to deal with. Like a sudden storm or a whale's going to ram into it like in between 30 pages of them being bored.
Yes. And as it takes 3 pages to describe being picked up by a tiger, dragged 3 feet, and dropped, everything takes pages and pages and pages to simply describe mopping the ship.
The poop deck.
Yeah, pulling in the rigging, doing all the stuff. There's descriptions of the boat, descriptions of the crew, a speech by the captain explaining orders by the captain and his mates are to be instantly obeyed. Breaking the rules would earn a whipping.
Lovingly described minutia. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, which is why I'm skipping chapters of dreariness. Most of the crew is not concerned with the dragon. They're just whalers. They're just going whaling. Jaff is scared of Mr. Rainey, one of the mates, the one who came roaring through at the beginning
Beating
of
the shit out of kids.
Yeah, he's one of the mates. But Jaff is assigned to Kamara's boat, and he likes Kamara. So on a whaling boat, each, actual little whaling part, they have the little boats that drop
Yeah,
on
the
each
little
crew.
skiffs.
Yeah, that go chasing whales. They have 3 crews, so we have Kamara, Rainey, and the captain, Captain Porter. And so that each crew will be in a boat and go take off. And so he's happy that he's in Kamara's because Kamara seems like a nice-ish guy, and he's scared of Rainey. And Porter is just kind of described as too nice for a captain. Like, he's not strict enough. They get to the Azores in Portugal because they're heading south. They go on the island. They get fresh food and water. And Jaff and Tim find Skip, who is another greenhorn, new sailor kid, up on the mountain drawing in a sketchbook. Skip is really good at drawing and whistling. He also admits to having the second sight. And Jaff's like, everyone at home has the second sight. That's no big deal. But sometimes Skip sees the future, he says.
What is second sight in this context? I'm like psychic?
Like psychic, can tell fortunes, has like the knack, has like a gift.
Gotcha.
He's able to see the future sometimes. He sees God sometimes. He asks Jaff if he thinks they'll actually find the dragon. If we do, we'll be rich. Skip tells him no, he won't be rich. He just knows. So that's where we kind of get like, there's something wrong with Skip. There's something off about him. He's a weird kid. Skip's from Rochester, and he's about their age.
Had entirely too much mercury at that age.
I think he's actually schizophrenic,
Okay.
but that's not what they called it then.
Right, yeah.
It's getting late, so they go back down to the beach and they meet up with Jan Reimer. He knows all the places to go, so he takes them to an inn and gets them food and drink. They eat, they drink, pages and pages of descriptions about the singing and the music and the fireplace and the cat and the women in their dresses and a Madonna on the wall and people talking and people laughing and people dancing and people singing.
They're doing all the pirate shanties and everyone's drinking rum. Everybody got peg legs.
Yep.
Just looks like a room full of chairs from like 6 inches down.
Yeah. Dan tells Jaff that he has a wife and he loves his wife. And Jaff saw her on the pier as they were leaving. And he talks about an angel that saved him. And he also tells a really funny joke. I was lying in the gutter, said Dan, and a small dog had just pissed upon my shoulder. He took a drink. Dear God, thank you. Thank you, my God. It could have been my face.
That's good. I like that.
Jaff has too much to drink and he throws up. Dan tells him about an angel that came and picked him up and saved him and carried him back to his boat. Common sailor stories.
Yeah.
A woman comes and kisses Dan, and Dan talks about how much he loves his wife, and then he wanders off with this woman because he's a sailor.
Yeah, he's a pirate.
That's what they do.
Yeah, sailor.
He's just a sailor, but women in every port, right?
Yeah.
They drink too much, he throws up, sleeps it off, the next day they leave port. There's talk about how few whales are in the waters now, but there won't be much more need for whale oil because of the oil coming out of the ground. So this book is set right at the end of the whaling period and beginning of oil drilling. So you kind of get like the boat itself is old and one of the last of its kind, and the crew are like one of the few last of its kind.
That's kind of similar to a couple of books I've come across. A lot of westerns take place right at the end of the buffalo hunting times, and they're seeing like the transition. And one book in particular, it was like right as the market for buffalo hides had like dropped to like worthless. All the buffalo hunters were having a shitting ass fit about that.
One night, the moon's out. Jaff notices that Skip is acting strange, the kid who sees stuff, and he goes over and talks to him, and Skip is seeing snakes coming out of the ocean and is like really scared. And then eventually, like, Jaff looks around and just stays with him, and the snakes go away, and he's like, better. And Jaff tells Gabriel, who says that if they got rid of every mad sailor, there'd be no one to sail.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how jobs even work today, because they're not looking for the perfect guy, they're looking for the good enough guy that's gonna stay.
But to keep an eye on him, and Jaff's worried, like, what happens if this happens when we're doing something dangerous? We're going after a whale. And he just goes and wanders off. But so it's like, well, keep an eye on him. They finally sight whales. Each crew gets in their whaling boat and races to harpoon a whale. Jaff's boat gets a whale first, and the description of the harpooning is so sad. Quote, a whale sees nothing before or behind. It sees two worlds either side. I don't know what the whale saw. To me, it seemed she was looking at me all the time. That's what it was like, as if she was curious. I dare say there were wiser whales. Comrade darted, and she was struck. She pitched, turned the front of her head at us in a soundless scream, thrashing her tail 3 or 4 times and causing the sea to boil, then fled along the slippery surface of the sea, with the harpoon quivering in her side, dragging us after. Kamara stabs her 8 or 9 times and finally finds the heart. Quote, "This was a fierce, boiling death. She died thrashing, blindly, in a slick of gore, full of pain and fury, gnashing her jaws, beating her tail, spewing lumps of slime and half-digested fish that fell stinking about us. It was vile. So much strength dies slowly. We watched in awe, wordless. 10 minutes, 15 more. As she thrashed, she swam around in an ever-dwindling gyre, and I begged her to die."
Yeah, that's pretty
sad.
Devastating, honestly.
That's so sad. Whaling is brutal, and it's good that it's not allowed anymore.
Yeah.
This author just takes you to the center of it and guts you. And it's like so sad.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like even a lot of, like, you could shut yourself off from that to some degree, but it seems pretty clear and obvious, like, how thoughtful of creatures whales are to a lot of people. So, yeah, that's tough. That's rough.
It's
Yeah, just watching a confused animal die slowly.
and it's so big and takes so long.
Yeah. Whew, that's rough.
I'm not going to read the extremely descriptive discussion of butchering the whale, cutting the blubber off and burning, melting the oil and mucking off the scum. Jaff describes digging buckets of oil out of the sperm whale's head, and someone has to climb inside and dig out all the rest.
Sick.
They strip off the skin. They cut away at the wormy innards looking for ambergris. Just the flesh, blood, guts, bones. Just, again, the descriptions I gave you of, the people in the streets. That of your arms up to your elbows in blood and fat.
Yeah, just 3 days inside a whale looking for different smelling pores.
Yeah. So Dan warns Jaff to sleep in his clothes, or he'll be all out before they get back to have time to be washed. So he goes to bed.
Give him a warning. It's going to be nasty a lot.
Yeah, and there's no point changing now, because he has to wake up and do this again tomorrow. And it takes him 3 days to process all of the oil and put it in barrels and get it stowed away. And so they sail east.
You know who else sells barrels of ambergris from slowly, tragically murdered animals?
Oh no, don't tell me it's us.
It's us now.
This room is fucking hot. I need a break. I'm melting like a whale in a pot.
Hello, bad book loving friends. Just updating our socials. We're on Blue Sky now at bugs-bibliorex.bsky.social. We have a Substack at Bugs and Books, and the profile name is Bugs at BiblioWrecks. And of course, our website, BiblioWrecks.com. Drop us a message and check out the content that Bugs works on. She's really good at the social stuff. And let's get back to that bad book. And we're back from swimming in fish guts.
Ugh.
So, as this is happening, how is Jaff feeling about all this, or does he say?
He goes from elated to bored to excited to scared. All of his emotions are basically appropriate for the situation. Whaling, he's scared. He doesn't want to leave his nice safe boat to go get in a little tiny boat to chase a huge whale. It's exciting, hunting the whale, and then sad, killing the whale. Yeah. And then exhilarating, because they got the whale. He's mostly just like, why did I ever get on this boat? Oh, I love being on the boat. Oh, I'm sick and vomiting. Oh, why did I ever do this? Oh, I feel fine now. Oh, I have friends. Like...
kind of roller coastering.
Yeah. But 15-year-old kid, on a new experience. All of that's normal.
Yeah, I guess.
That's why I say, not much actually happens. We're a quarter of the way through the book, and the actual things that have happened are what I've said. Everything else is talking about, the view of the sun, and the clouds, and the mountains,
and the excruciating
the
detail upon detail.
Yeah. And I'm trying to get better about not wallowing in the details. They head east. Tim gets a letter from Ishbel, and when he's reading, he turns the page over, and Jaff sees his name at the top, Dear Tim and Jaffe. Tim denies that the letter is for Jaff and snatches it away, and he grins smugly at him. He puts it away and then just kind of casually remarks that his dad is dead, and he's the man of the house. And cool. Jaff wishes he could just murder this son of a bitch. And it's like his ma can't write to him because she doesn't know how to read or write. And why didn't Ish write him his own letter? Of course, it's expensive to send a letter.
Yeah, it costs a paper. It's ridiculous.
And, you know, it's just him being the
Shitty.
bastard he is.
Yeah.
And giving that "would I lie to you" little smirk, you know, and then just putting it away. And, of course, Jaff is old enough to know having a tantrum and smacking his friend is going to get him in more trouble than...
Yeah.
No one's going to make Tim hand over the letter.
He's got to wait for the right time.
That's why I feel like Tim is the only character that we get anything from. And we just hate his guts. He's just a little bastard. Jaff and Skip talk about the dragon. Skip wants to go on the hunt, but Dan won't take him because Skip is just unreliable and sees things. And Jaff feels bummed because he's not on the hunt either. The plan is for Dan and Tim to go on the island and drive the dragon back to the shore and, like, drive it into a crate. Dan tells him later that Tim is for the hunt, but Jaff is for taking care of the animal after they catch it because they each have skills and talents. And that makes Jaff feel better.
Yeah.
They're building a great cage on the deck for the aura. Quote, Kamara stood watching. Make damn sure it's strong, he said, shaking out his handkerchief and laughing at the idea of the thing getting out and taking a stroll along the deck. Down into the forecastle, he cried with nasal delight, blowing his nose loudly. Aft in the captain's cabin, smiled Sam, because they're just imagining it kind of like a dog getting out and just taking a walk along the ship, and everyone's just laughing because they have no idea what this thing actually looks like.
Yeah, they don't know that it's like a 12-foot monitor lizard.
Yeah. Because, you know, some are thinking an Eastern dragon that's long and flowy and has, you know, like the short legs. And other people are thinking, you know, like a European dragon who has, you know, a round body and big, huge wings. And so everyone is just calling it like an aura or the dragon. And they might not even exist, you know, who knows? Yeah.
They're all still looking for all the monsters that are on the maps from the era. Or you'll have one random what is it? Carbides or something like that from Greek mythology. It's just like a swirl with teeth, and then you got this snake-looking thing.
And then that reminds them of the cage that the tiger got out of, and Tim tells them that Jaff got taken by a tiger, so he has to tell a story about how he got picked up by a tiger, and everyone's interested, and he has to retell it, and he becomes the most interesting thing that happened in the last, you know, couple of days on a boring ship. So everyone wants to talk to him and hear the story, and that kind of
ranks him up in his popularity. Yeah,
that boosts him on the totem pole and also makes him forgive Tim a little bit because, you know, Tim is giving him a chance to be interesting and be special for a minute. Skip wants to know what it was like, and then they talk about Jamrach. Jaff talks about the sad bird room that's always silent, and Skip talks about hating seeing birds in cages. It makes him feel sad. Skip remembers a goldfish his grandmother had that circled in its tiny bowl endlessly, and he said it was horrible. So we kind of also have the two concepts we're dealing with in the book of being caged and being free, because we have the wild animals that they're hunting, we have the caged animals that are sad, you know, and we have the boy who doesn't want to be caged. He wants to be free.
Yeah, he doesn't want to stay in England. He wants to go travel on the ship.
And then we also have, are you caged by fate or are you free and everything's chance? And so she does play with these two concepts, and we kind of see them balance out through the story. And I think that's really well done, too.
Yeah.
They take a whale, and in the middle of it, Skip has a strange turn and walks off and lays down. So he's having, like, a fit, kind of thing.
Some kind of episode, yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Rainey kicks him and yells at him, but it doesn't do anything. It's almost like a seizure, like his eyes bug out and nobody can get him to wake up. The captain orders them to carry him to his hammock. And that night, Skip's better, but he says there was an eye with wings following the ship and he went to go see it. Gabriel says that Horus is an Egyptian god that's an eye, and Skip's not surprised. He's been visited by gods before. So everyone's like weirded out and superstitious already because they're sailors.
Yeah, they're sailors, and also they got the this freak kid. He's just seeing shit.
And so everyone decides to keep a really close eye on Skip because over time he comes progressively worse. Like, initially only Jaff notices, and then later everyone notices, and then his mental health degrades over time. They finally make it to some islands near where rumors of the dragons came from. Dan tells the crew about the plan. They're going to go from island to island and look for guides and rumors. Nobody lives on islands with the dragons, but fishermen have been in areas where they saw them, and then other people have found remains of fishermen who obviously saw them.
Yeah, a little bit closer to the original call in this game of telephone.
So he's telling them they'll make like a gauntlet of like torches and fire and stakes and like try to run it down into the beach and catch it that way. And so they find a couple of Malaysian guides. They're like going from island to island to see when they find sign for it. So the crew's asking him, like, what if it flies? And he's like, I'd never heard tell that it flies. I don't think it flies. And then someone says, what if it breathes fire? And Dan laughs. We run like hell.
Yeah.
Because, like, we're not catching that.
Right.
You don't bring fire like that on a ship, so we'd be out of luck. But they're going to hunt for 2 weeks and no more. They're going to go out of their way.
The ship's got other shit to do.
Yeah. And the ship is owned by the guy who also wants the dragon, but he doesn't want to not make money on his whaling ship. They get to Palau, Comlin? I don't even know what I wrote.
Do you want me to try?
I don't know if it's Lomlin or Comlin. It's an island.
Okay.
They get to an island, I think they're in like the East China Sea area. Billy, one of the young sailors, I don't think he's like one of the kids, but he's like in his 20s. He starts filling their heads with tales of cannibals that will suck your brains out your nose.
Oh boy.
Because everything in everything in the East China Sea is going to eat you and swallow you up whole.
Oh, are they going to get shipwrecked and they got to eat each other on this island full of dragons? Can't wait.
Yeah. Gabriel says that the people on these islands aren't cannibals anymore, and you don't get cannibals till you get to the Southern Sea. But Billy says that once cannibals, always cannibals. So they're just kind of like arguing about like, because they're superstitious,
old wives
they
tales
don't
and
know this area, and it's just like everything's
filling it
out to
in
get
with
you.
whatever bullshit they can muster up.
So Gabriel decides to tell them about the time he saw a big snake eat a small dog. And this big snake is swallowing the dog from its hindquarters all the way up to its head. And they watch it silently cry while it's being swallowed.
Oh, yeah, that's harrowing.
This gives everyone the heebie-jeebies and freaks them the fuck out. Because they're all standing there imagining a little dog getting swallowed up and knowing it's being eaten. Right after talk of cannibals. So they're working themselves into a state.
This is going to be like the fake Annabelle from that second Stephen Demogorgon book. They're all going to get really excited and work themselves into a tizzy and make something up. They're going to see a sea monster that isn't there.
John Copper is one of the greenhorns, one of the young ones. And he's mad that Gabriel didn't stop the snake. And he's like actually furious and crying.
Oh,
because he is so upset at this story. Like, it gets to him. Gabriel's old captain was fascinated and wouldn't let anyone stop the snake because he wanted to watch. And so John is like, if I ever meet him, I'm going to knock his face off because he's just, like, really upset. But this is, like, the image in everybody's head now. And they're thinking about cannibals and they're thinking about monsters. And there's this dragon. And everyone is just, like, in a state.
That's also really weird. Like, he's so empathetic towards, like, this dog he's never seen, and as far as is concerned, hypothetical.
Right.
But also, they're all working on a ship where they're slaughtering whales.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just kind of a disconnect there because it's a dog and people like dogs more than they do
Probably.
whales.
And then, like, John is also, like, he's young, and they've already gotten these other stories, and it's just kind of setting the mood for everybody, I guess.
Right.
Also, this is his first time to sea, so they've been out for, I think, a couple of months now.
Yeah.
So he's probably starting to feel truly homesick.
Yeah.
Like, they've gotten their first letters, some didn't get any letters, and they're in a completely foreign new place, and everything's scary.
Yeah.
So they pick up their guides and they start looking for sign on the islands. And Jeff is having anxiety nightmares as they search for the dragon. So the story of the cannibals and the snake, and everyone's mood now is like fraught. Like, everybody is just in
wound
this,
up. And,
yeah. Quote, I kept thinking about that poor dog getting eaten by a snake while it was still alive and knew what was happening. I kept seeing its silently crying mouth as it was crushed and ingested, and I thought about the God that could conceive of such an entrance into death, and felt cold and hurt and scared more than I had ever been. And when at last I fell asleep, it was into a terrible nightmare, the kind that wakes you in a pounding heart sweat and leaves you shaken out and horrified by the contents of your head. There was a big tank full of blood in a dark attic room, parts of bodies moving about in it, swimming around each other like eels. And there, right in the middle of it, was a man's face, full of horror. Oh, the horror, it's what woke me. A real whole man, desperately trying to swim out, but with no chance at all. An arm came up out of the gore, and a spread hand, coated in thick clots, pushed his face down under, and I woke in the creaking forecastle and wasn't sure if I'd screamed or not. But no, it seemed I hadn't. So this is the mood.
Yeah, it is also a really good description of, like, when you're, like, up at night and trying to grapple with the enormity of death.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like that's pretty good.
He is laying there shaking from this horrible nightmare, dreaming of blood and clots and faces, and he feels really resentful of Tim suddenly, because Tim is always a shit anyway, and he's like, why should Tim sleep while I'm having nightmares? So he's
This
like...
is all Tim's fault! That son of a bitch!
I mean, 15-year-olds, yeah, that's how they would do. And so he's like, Tim, you awake? And Tim is awake. You scared? Yeah. He's like, you miss home? Yeah. And so they just talk to each other about they miss home.
Oh,
and they're
that's
both
surprisingly
scared.
vulnerable. I wasn't expecting that. I thought he was gonna, like, walk up to him and just, like, punch him in the face while he's asleep.
And so Tim reaches out and holds his hand.
That's so nice.
And they calm down and go back to sleep and feel better.
Jeez.
And it's like, I like how Tim is a snot and you want to slap him, but he's actually also a really
Also
good friend.
a person that
a
feels
real good
vulnerability
friend.
right now.
Yeah. And he does miss
Jeez.
home and Mrs. Ish and the broth that Ma would make. So they have this really tender, sweet, brotherly moment.
Oh, God. Oh, God, what happens?
Oh, so they get to the island.
Okay.
They can see sign. They see the big claw marks and the palm prints where it walks up the beach. And the island is big. So I think they were initially imagining, like, a little rock island.
Yeah.
That you could walk across and see a dragon. This one has a mountain kind of jungle, like grass and bushes kind of stuff. So you can't really see, but they know there's one here.
Right.
So they changed the plan. Dan wants 3 more people to go with him, and they're going to try to capture it up in the grass on the mountain and then carry it back.
Oh, that's a bad idea.
Well, they're now seeing how big it is by seeing the size of the prints and how wide it is and how long its tail is. And they're like, oh, yeah, original plan, not going to work. So Jaff, Dag, and John Copper are going to go with him, and they're going to actually create a trap and try to bait and catch a dragon. So they start walking east. The Malaysians are in front, and like they're walking really, really quietly. And then they stop, and a deer runs across the trail right in front of them, and they're like frozen. And they wait, and they take a couple more steps, and then across the trail goes flying a dragon, like just running super fast. And they're like, "Oh my god, did you see how big that was? And how fast it ran?" And they're like, "Oh shit." And so they see the trail of blood that the deer's leaving, and they slowly follow, and they finally see the deer's dying at the edge of like a big rock. The lizard's just kind of walking up to it because they have poison glands and really toxic saliva.
Yeah.
So they can just get a good bite in and then take their time.
Yeah, it actually seems like the author was aware pretty well of animals like that, because that is kind of their hunting strategy. They, the way their teeth are set up, they'll actually kind of let whatever they bite bleed out. And if that doesn't get them, then the different kinds of toxins, and I think theirs
like
is like
bacteria.
It's like a slow working venom. They used to think that it was like a just really toxic bacteria in their mouths, but they've since come across some evidence that they actually do have like a low grade venom that they inject.
Yeah. So we get the description of the dragon, and it's pretty impressive. Then I saw the dragon, just above and beyond us, completely still on a low wrinkle of land overlooking the plain, no more than a deck's length from me. A huge brownish-gray thing with black head and legs, bigger than a tiger, longer and lower, but raising its powerful chest and head as high at the front and trailing behind a mighty weapon of a tail. It was magnificent. Its feet were like giant hands, splayed and slightly inturned, knobbly and wavy and tipped by long black claws that curved like sickles. A kind of a lizard, obviously, but like nothing I'd ever seen. We'd had geckos and chameleons and iguanas at Jamrach's, even a Gila monster once, but they were nothing compared to this. The size of it, that chest, the muscles in those arms, the skin like ancient armor, scaly and notched and scarred like the ears of an old tomcat, yet loose and wrinkled, hanging in baggy swaths under its belly and throat. Its closed mouth was like a crocodile's, a crooked line that meandered along its lower jaw. A slick tongue darted out and in, forked and yellow. It began to sway its head a little, slowly, snakish, side to side. How long did we watch? Minutes. Like, you see the animal in your head when they describe
it's a really good description.
Yeah, she is really good at describing the animals in the story. So they watch the dragon, like it stops and it kind of looks back like it knows they're there, and then it kind of disappears into the grass on its way toward the deer, and they're like, back up, back up, back up. Turn around, because now they can't see it.
Yeah.
Dan is like, I've seen it, I can make a plan. He's seen the size of it, he knows what he needs to do, and he sees that it follows blood trails. So he's like, okay. And everyone's like, why didn't we get that one? Why didn't we go after that one? And he's like, no, we have plenty of time. We do not need to go chasing the first one we see, because he's been doing this for years, decades.
He knows it's a lot easier to catch the younger ones than the big, huge
the ancient
monsters.
ones. Yeah. So they set up camp, and in the morning, they're going to build a trap. So he wants to build, like, a circle out of tall stakes and build, like, a little trap door. So if it goes into the trap, they can drop the trap, and they have, like, a rope hanging so that it would walk through the rope to get the meat. And he's like, we got a plan. They are like, well, we need to find the right spot. And he'll know it when he sees it. So they're walking along. They always smell the dragons before they see them, because they have this horrible stench. They come to the top of a cliff and they smell it and they look down. They see a dozen or so dragons eating another dragon. And they're just ripping it to shreds and just chewing away until there's nothing but a couple of bones and a piece of skin left. The description is very gory and gross and intense.
Oh boy.
So I'm skipping that one because we have plenty in the future.
All right.
Jaff and John Copper are scared shitless after seeing how many there are and how big they are and how they'll just eat their own and just suck down their bones. And Dan is like, I'm not here for you to die. You'll be fine. You just stick with me. I've got a plan. We got a plan. It's okay. But John and Jeff have been dreaming about cannibals and monsters for days. So they're like freaking out. But he's like, we have guns. We have a plan. It's fine. He's captured tigers and lions. He knows what he's doing. So they kill a boar and they make a trap. They pull down the trees so that when they cut the rope, the tree will swing up and pull the rope tight. And they got all their little stuff figured out. They drag along the boar and make a blood trail. And Jeff is like feeling really superstitious. He's like, he swears that the dragon yesterday like looked at him, like the one chasing the deer, like it looked at him and knew he was there.
Gave him the evil eye.
And it was like a demon looking at you. Like he's just got it in his head. Like these are demonic creatures.
I mean, you get that kind of, what was it called? Something thought? Intrusive thought?
Yes, he is having the intrusive thoughts. So they wait and they wait and they wait and they sleep. And then the next morning, one of the Malays is like, dragon. And so they all get up and they go hide. And they had built a hide they could hide behind. The dragon is following the blood trail and then it stops and it looks at the hide. And everyone's like frozen. Like they know we're here. It knows we're here. And then it kind of meanders on and it walks into the trap. But Dan triggers it too soon. And so the door doesn't close all the way, but the rope does get around behind its front feet. And it just goes mad. It's just thrashing and breaking everything.
Shit.
And all the trees are like getting shredded and it's just like flailing about. But eventually it wears itself out and they run up, they throw ropes around it. So they rope it around its hind legs and they rope it around its neck and they tie the ropes to trees and it just pages of thrashing. Pages of roaring and thrashing. And then finally it's like falling down with exhaustion and they truss it up on a small tree, they tie it up and they walk with it down to the beach. And everyone is excited. We've caught us a dragon. Nobody died. We've succeeded. We caught the dragon. They get down to the cage that's on the beach and they shove it in, drop the door, and everyone cheers. And that breaks it out of its lethargy and it beats its held senseless on the inside of the pen, just throwing itself around like a monster. He's like scared but excited and super proud and really happy and everyone's just exhilarated. We've caught a dragon. No one in the world has done this. Their fortune's made. Because Mr. Fletch had said, if you catch me a dragon, you'll never work another day in your life. Because he has that kind of money.
Yeah.
So it's like an actual little cage that's the size of the dragon on the beach. They put it on a boat, and then they get back to the ship. And then at the ship, they put it from the cage into its pen. And its pen is the size of a small room built on top of the ship. So it's like a proper little zoo room with like a little pool of water and shade and a couple rocks. And so it's like a proper setup. But they get back, they get the lizard settled in, and it just lays in its pen as if it was dead. We had sticks, but didn't need them. I thought it was dying. Actually, it was gathering strength.
Turns out he was just resting.
They drop off the Malaysian guides at the Flores, and Jeff watches a man build a bird, like little bird cages, and we're still thinking about the dichotomy of free and caged, and how sad bird cages are, but they're also so beautiful, and he likes how pretty they are, and thinks, I should have bought some bird cages so I could have some pretty birds, but also it's sad, and...
Dealing with the dichotomy of possession and idealism, I guess.
Yeah. They head north toward the East China Sea, and the Aura won't eat or drink. Jeff takes care of him, and they're like trying to like pour water on its nose, because they walk into its pen and they try to give it food and it just lays there. So they try to pour water on its snout and it just lays there. And then like 6 days in, he's pouring water on its snout and it sticks out its tongue and licks, and he goes, and he runs out. Because it could eat him up in no time at all.
Yeah.
And then finally, they put a live hog in there. It finally eats. And in 2 seconds, it's going from laying there with its eyes slightly open, and then it's swallowing the hog whole. And this hog is screaming. And everyone watches as it swallows the hog. And it's kind of like the snake eating the dog, but everyone's interested and excited because it's the dragon that's making their fortune. It's not this sad snake eating a dog thing.
Yeah.
So we're kind of seeing, like, how they can compartmentalize, and certain things are upsetting and others aren't.
That's really interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good comparative and context thing.
And everyone's relieved because that means it's going to live. It's drank, it's ate, it's not going to die.
Yeah.
They will get it back alive. And Fledge will pay them and they'll be rich. They've made their fortune. Dan declares he can retire now, and Skip says that retirement is like a kind of death. Because Skip is a little freaking weirdo.
Yeah. Really bringing the mood down, Skip.
Yeah, because he's like, I can retire and watch my kids grow up. And Skip's like, that's like dying.
You're one step closer to not being alive anymore. You might as well just quit now.
Yeah.
You're just going to be like worm food in a little while anyway.
Skip says everyone is always dying because things change, now is new and old is dead. And it's kind of like a snake shedding its skin. So it's the idea of old then is dead and only now is alive and real.
We only care about the present.
Yeah, Skip does, kind of. The Aura's old life on his island is dead. His new life is now and in the cage. And they catch Skip sitting in front of the Aura's cage talking to it. And he thinks it's talking back to him.
Skip's gonna do something stupid, isn't he? He's gonna let it go, and everyone's gonna die, and they're all gonna live on an island. And they're gonna eat Tim.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
And they're like, don't mess with this thing. You're not allowed near this thing. But because it's a soft ship, they're not harsh enough. They don't keep him away from the cage. So he keeps wandering back and drawing pictures of it and thinking about it. And then they fuss and chase him away, and he's laying in his bed talking to it and thinking it's talking to him. So it's gotten in his head as a thing. And in his head, it's like a god, you know.
Everyone's crazy.
Yeah. And he names it Bingo, which makes Jeff mad.
That'd make me mad, too. Bingo is a terrible name for a pet lizard.
Especially one that's the size of a tiger and
also
can eat you and is majestic and giant and scary. But everyone starts calling it Bingo, and Jeff can't do anything to stop him.
I mean, it's just going to be, like, super cutesy sounding whenever it goes to start eating people. And like, oh no, Bingo's on the loose. No one's going to take him seriously. That's why everyone dies in the end, really.
So we've had the buildup of cannibals and snakes eating dogs, and then the victory of catching the dragon.
A lot of consumption.
But now we're back in kind of the doldrums of everyday shipping and being bored.
Back in the monotony.
And Skip is acting more weird than he was before. And everyone becomes scared of the dragon. Quote, "How was it we became so afraid of the dragon? Not just as anyone would be afraid of a wild animal with claws and teeth, but as if it was something more. We took on bad luck with that animal. Who was it first said that? In time, we were all saying it. It began with a sickness. All of us went down with it apart from Abel Roper and Wilson Pride, but not all at the same time, thank God. It's filthy and foul on a ship when everyone's voiding from either end." And then the captain's dog dies because they had kept it away from the Aura because it would upset the dragon.
Yeah.
And it's a little tiny dog, and if it got between the bars, it would get it.
Yeah.
But somehow it gets through the little barrier, trots past the cage, and the dragon rushes the edge and scares the dog, and it either hits its head or has a seizure and it dies. And that makes the captain very, very depressed because that's the little pup he picked up and has been carrying around in his pocket since it was, a pup. And so Skip starts acting more weird, and he says time has changed. And they're in dragon time.
What's dragon time?
It feels like they're outside of time, and nobody can agree how many days or weeks it's been since they picked up the dragon.
Oh, they're getting lost in the sauce.
Yeah, they're getting lost in time. There's no other ships on the sea. They can't see any other ships. They haven't seen land. There's no islands. There should be islands. There's no whales. There should be whales. And so it's like, oh, we're cursed. We have bad luck for a few days, but we're cursed. Because everyone's been in this mindset, and now people got sick.
Now cabin fever is setting in.
There's a storm, so that breaks up the monotony. And then halfway through the storm, they see a whale. And they're like, ships down, go after it. Boats down, and they chase the whale, but they have bad luck, and instead of getting the whale, they lose a boat.
Yeah.
So now they're down 2 boats, because during a different storm, they lost a boat. So instead of 4, they only have 2. And there's no whales. The storm goes away, clears up, and then darkness falls for 7 days. So it's just pitch black for 7 full days. And it's like some kind of storm where there's clouds are so thick they can't see. And so we're kind of having like, Job and, ancient biblical curses kind of stuff happening. Skip is still laying in bed talking to the dragon and saying the dragon's talking back to him. And he says the whales are staying away because they know the dragon's on board. The dragon is bad luck. We've got bad luck. We're bad luck.
Whatever you say, you little nutter.
Yeah. Jeff thinks that they should have beat Skip every time he went near the dragon and every time he talked about it, but that's old man Jeff with hindsight. Dan finally makes a rule. Only Jeff and Dan can go near the pen. Because everyone's getting weird about it. Everyone's saying the dragon's bad luck. And even the captain's like, we ought to just boil it and eat it. This is just, I can't wait to get this shit animal off my ship, And everyone's in a bad mood. Everyone's decided the dragon is bad luck. So they start talking about the cursed spot in the ocean where the Essex went down. Do you know that story?
It sounds vaguely familiar.
So, same time period. It's the actual story that inspired Moby Dick. It was a whaling boat, a whaling ship that went down. The crew, most of the crew went down, and there was only a few survivors. And then when they ran out of rations and water, they drew lots. And the one who lost
got it.
Yeah. And they're talking about how that's a bad luck part of the ocean, and they're sailing near there right now.
Oh my god, all this bad luck is just stacking. You got bad dragon luck, you got bad whale luck, you got Essex bad luck.
So we're obviously building toward a crescendo, a climax of bad luck.
Yeah, bad shit's about to happen, and it's about to happen hard.
So one night, the bad luck happens. Everyone's been drinking. It's boring, no whales, nothing to do. Everyone except who's on watch drinking till they're drunk. Jeff goes on watch, and he looks up and he sees John walking toward him. And right behind him, the dragon walking toward him too.
Oh.
All hell breaks loose. He yells, John, the dragon, and John screams and runs away, and everyone's like trying to jump and climb, and then they're trying to get it back into its pen, and then it's turning around and biting people, and it bites Mr. Kamara, and then they're chasing it again, and then it's chasing them.
They're doing the Scooby-Doo thing. They're going through the doors in the hallway.
Yeah. And so everyone's terrified. Everyone's drunk. Nobody can do anything. They're trying to get guns. They're trying to shoot at it. And then finally, they put down at the side of the ship, the kind of gate thing, and they run it, they bum rush it, and shove it off the side of the ship. And it plops down into the ocean and sinks, and then it comes up and it starts swimming home. And they're like, good riddance.
I wonder how long a Komodo dragon can swim.
They actually, the crew debates whether it could have swam home or not. Because it's if there's fish, it could have ate fish. It wouldn't have fresh water, so it could probably die from that. But they're like, maybe it did make it home. Yeah. Maybe it didn't die. But
they were sailing for, days, though.
Right, without seeing stuff. So who knows? We don't ever know.
I'd say it probably died.
Probably died. Yeah. But, Dan is like, God damn it. They're never going to believe us that we caught the dragon.
Yeah.
Our fortune, there goes our fortune. All this work, all this effort, all this stuff and of course it was Skip. Skip thought that the dragon wanted to take a walk. So he took him out to take a walk.
I mean, he did. So, Skip wasn't wrong.
Skip wasn't wrong. Skip was just an idiot, mentally ill. And so, of course, they clap him in irons and take him down because they're like, we cannot let someone this stupid do stuff like this.
Yeah, I get that.
And it's like, this poor kid's mad, but also, what else are they going to do with a mad kid
on a ship?
On a ship.
Things can happen that people die.
Yeah. Mr. Kamara's probably going to die because he's been chewed up by it and his leg's turning green and swelling. So Dan and Tim and and Jeff, they're like, well, maybe we'll come back next time he sends an expedition. We know where they are now. And next time we'll be prepared. And we won't have Skip. We can succeed next time. Their bad luck doesn't stop. They're cursed now. They're just cursed.
Yep, it's permanent.
Yeah. There's a huge storm with 3 water spouts, and the water spouts dance around and then finally wreck the ship. And they only have 2 whaling boats now, so the ship goes down. They get in the whale boats. They manage to get some of the mast, some of the sails. They get the toolbox. They get a couple barrels of water, some hardtack, a couple of the pigs. Like, they're able to save a little bit.
Yeah, they won't immediately starve.
Right. They won't immediately die. But when I tell you that, like, you're in his head, so you don't know what the hell's actually going on, and other people, like, later, or he later explains what happened.
And everything's chaotic and...
Yeah. Quote, "The world rolled round, and I rolled with it, banged and winded and beaten by the timbers of the deck and the hard outcrop of the try-works that cracked my knee and set a fire screaming up into my chest. I fell from there as the world swung all around my head, lurched again, grabbed and hung onto the weather rail." Like, he's just rolling in circles, and so we don't know what's going on.
Right.
But it goes down. They're, like, trying to, like, salvage whatever they can. And, like, Henry Cash brings up the toolbox and then tries to go back underneath down in the brig to, like, bring up more water. And then the mast falls and they can't get it up. And he's obviously drowned now and dead. And they're, like, just desperately trying to get anything they can to survive. Tim held on to me, his eyes shining with a horrified, slightly gleeful excitement. Mr. Rainey clouted me on the back of the head. "In the boat," he said. I seemed to move slowly as if I was in a dream. There I was, going out again, dimming down like a trimmed lamp. Not here but absent. Turn away, Jaff. Turn aside and watch. Save me from gut fear. Uncreep my flesh.
Sorry, what was that last bit again? Uncreep my flesh?
Yeah.
Who?
It's like he's having an out-of-body experience, and she's trying to describe that to us. But it's just kind of nonsense.
I don't... I mean, that's really creative, but I hate uncreep my flesh.
Yeah.
I'm
and you
upset.
and I
I'm a
have
little
been
upset.
through experiences that gave us PTSD.
And took off our flesh.
And burned our flesh. But it just doesn't feel like this author has experienced that. So some of the times when we're going through these things...
Feels a little phoned in.
Yeah. It feels like she read about other people's experiences and then was like, I can recreate that. And it doesn't feel true, which I haven't gone down in a storm in the sea. Maybe this is what it would feel like.
Yeah, I've never been bitten by a Komodo dragon while dying of scurvy or anything, so...
Right. And this is where I don't like that we're in his head and we only have his perspective.
Yeah, we could have gotten like a clear description and moved things along.
And we also might have benefited from multiple points of view if we were occasionally in his head and hearing his thoughts, and then also hearing the captain's thoughts, who's been in bad ways before, or Mr. Rainey's, or Tim's, or, you know, other people's, of like seeing what's going on, seeing what's actually happening, because we're not only seeing this through Jaff's eyes, we're seeing this through Jeff, old man, retelling what happened when he was 15 in the middle of chaos.
Right.
And it becomes...
It's a lot of layers going on.
Yeah. It just becomes annoying.
Yeah.
At some point, you know, 200 pages in. So they get into the whale boats. They get enough. There's 12 men left. So I think initially they had like 20. They lost one who like ditched the boat and just went inland and didn't come back one morning. But they've had like roughly 19, 20-ish. Now we're down to 12. Dan takes Tim and Jeff like under his wings. He's like, stay with me, boys. I'll keep you safe. Just stay with me. And he's hanging on to them as much as to preserve his sanity as actually taking care of them. And so they just stick with Dan, and he's like, stay with me. I've been in worse. We'll get through this. And he becomes like the father figure. All he cares about is taking care of them. Billy Stock is swimming from the sinking ship to the whale boat, and he's swimming and swimming really hard, and he keeps going under. And then when they pull him in, he like doesn't stop swimming. His arms keep shaking, and then he just dies.
Oh.
So that's like Jaff's first experience of watching someone die, and he is like traumatized by it.
Yeah, that'd do it.
And then so they sew him up in
Whale leather tarpaulin?
a shroud. No, they sew him into a shroud.
Okay.
Like you cut up fabric and sew them up. And they give him a proper burial.
Yeah.
They have their little masts and their sails, and they're like, we're going to head east and try to hit Chile, because they've been heading east from China. So if they can go east far enough across the Pacific, they'll eventually cross a shipping lane or a whaling lane or hit Chile. And that's their hope. We will get rescued before we hit Chile. But if we can't, we can hit Chile. Might take us a while, but we can get there.
Yeah.
And so the captain's doing the math. How many men?
Calculating
a
how
couple
much
barrels
food.
of water. How much hardtack? And he's like, I think we can make it. And of course, he's the captain. He has to say that.
Yeah.
He has to say, we can make it, men. We can get through this. Be careful. Skip constantly, incessantly, every single page says it's all his fault.
I mean, kinda.
The storm wasn't his fault.
Right.
So if they'd been on the storm with the dragon and the dragon got loose in the storm, it probably could have done a lot more damage.
Yeah,
It could have
that's a
been
good
worse.
point.
But that's not how anyone else sees it either. They're like, yeah, Skip, it's your fault. We fucking hate you.
We're gonna eat you first.
So Skip is just snotty and seeing things and moaning and whining. It's his fault. For the rest, multiple chapters.
Descending further into mental illness.
Yeah. They see a moonbow. There's rainbows at night. Dan insists they'll be fine. They sing. Skip whines. Chapters go by. They sail east. We do this for 100 pages.
Oh.
In
So
these
just
two whale
really,
boats.
really hammering how lonely and monotony and
Yeah. Like, it is so repetitive. Because how many times can Skip say it was his fault? How many times can people pick at sores or complain they're thirsty or their tongue loll out or their eyes go bug-eyed?
yeah. I mean, I get to a degree of kind of simulating the sense of what the
Yes.
characters are going
I
through.
felt a while washing the sea, dying of
But
boredom.
there's a point where you're just kicking the horse that's on. You're kicking a dead horse. So
They're hungry. They lose the other boat. The other boat comes back. They ration out water. They each get like a cup of water, like an actual like 8 ounces or something like that, like per day, and like a small piece of hardtack. After 10 days, they butcher one of the pigs, and they have enough on their little boats to actually have a little fire. So they cook the pig, chew on its ears, and drink its blood, and everyone's feeling better because they're not quite at starvation death levels, but they're at very hungry, very thirsty. 1 cup of water all day long, in the sun, in the salt water, so they're having a bad way. They get giggly, they get sick, they have an extra ration of water to celebrate making it 10 days and having the pig. They're trying to keep up their spirits. Skip starts being a little shit and poking John in the back, like with his finger, just poking him. And they're like, you gotta send him to the other boat or something bad's gonna happen. Like, he might get murdered, and if you don't move him to somewhere else.
yeah, I don't understand why Skip is acting like this. Like, he's never been like irritating like that.
No. He's just losing his goddamn mind.
Oh, okay.
He is going mentally off his rocker. And he is needing attention and food and care and a lot of support, and he's getting neglected just as everyone else is.
Right.
And he's not managing himself at all. So, you know, like, when you're mentally ill, you can do a certain level of self-management if things are okay.
Right.
And then if you become homeless or too hungry or off your meds, you are no
way to
longer
manage.
able to manage yourself and act like, you know, a person. So he's going down that level of being very like a toddler, like wanting attention, whining, crying, wailing, moaning, poking people. And they're like, we're gonna murder this little shit if he doesn't stop. So they put him in the other boat. And they're like, dude, if you poke anyone here, we will throw you overboard. And actually, I think Rainey says he'll pick him up and toss him in the water. And Dan says, if anyone murders anyone, I'll shoot them, because he has a gun. And that reminds the captain that he's the captain and he has a gun. And then nothing going anywhere, and it's over.
Yeah. Oh, well.
I was like, well, I thought we were going to have something there.
Yeah, I was expecting like a Mexican standoff.
Me too.
In boats and increasingly complicated ways. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm going to throw this boy in the water while I'm going to shoot you. Well, I'm going to shoot you. Well, I'm going to hit you with my oar.
Yeah, and then nothing happens. So they trade Jan.
It gets complicated enough. Everybody's just like, this is too confusing. Nobody kills anybody. How about that?
And nothing actually happens. Like, we have little tiny possible setups for conflict between people, and it never happens. Over and over in this book, we do not have any interpersonal conflict or interpersonal stuff happen. Yeah. It's really lacking.
Yeah, setting up like the possibility of it, but never paying it off.
Right. Like, I thought the captain being too soft would actually lead to something. But I don't think him being soft on Skip is what caused Skip to go let the dragon loose. Yeah. Because Skip was seeing things and hearing things.
Yeah. Skip's crazy regardless of how the captain was
really
shooting
that had no impact on the storm, causing water spouts to, knock the ship over. And then here, nobody actually throws Skip over. Nothing happens. They bail the boats out, they fish, they don't have any way to catch the fish. There's a storm, there's sunshine, there's storm, there's sunshine. There's flying fish that fly into the sails and flop down in the boat, so they're able to pick up little fish and eat them.
Oh, that's cool.
So then one of the kids is like, I want to get in the water and swim. I'm too hot. And then they see there's barnacles under the boats, so they pick up the barnacles and are able to eat those. Oh. So that's helpful.
Gross.
Yeah. Everyone burns black, everyone's swollen, their tongues are swollen, they can't talk, they're scratchy, they drink their own piss, it tastes bad, they have sores on their elbows they suck on because the blood is something to get in their mouth and make it wet again. They hold seawater in their mouth, and they're like, don't swallow. You can put the water in your mouth, but don't swallow, it'll kill you.
Yep.
You cannot drink seawater. But they're so thirsty, and they're rationed 1 cup of water a day, and they cannot have more because they'll run out, and that'll be worse than 1 cup a day. And Mr. Rainey is the first one to die because he was actually drinking the seawater and hiding it. And they're like, we're pretty sure he was the one. Yeah. He was actually drinking it when he shouldn't have been. And he was also an alcoholic, so he was having a real hard time with no rum.
Oh, yeah.
So he had a chest cold, and he was like feeling really sick and awful. So he's like physically degrading much more quickly than everyone else.
Yeah, sounds pretty fucking miserable.
Yeah, really miserable. So here's the description of Mr. Rainey dying. Then he went mad, banging and flapping about horribly, with his head twisting and thrashing enough to break his neck, and his mouth open and his tongue rushing in and out, and his eyes squelched shut, and his feet kicking and his arms flailing. He was so broken by it, it made me sick. I couldn't stand to see him like that, and yet there he was in front of me, cracking himself to death, and with every smack of his head against the boards, I closed my eyes like you do at hammer cracks. And he dies.
Very descriptive deaths. I do like that.
Yeah.
Like, there's no one dying off screen. I appreciate that.
We're not doing Stephanie Meyer, all the action happens when she's unconscious. We're not doing Eos, pass out, and now we're in a new place. Yeah. They do bury him at sea. They sew him up in his clothes and bury him at sea. It is so repetitive. Quote, "It's my fault," Skip said for the 500th time. He said this so many times it became true. Yes, we thought. If he hadn't let the dragon free. So many dead, and it's all your fault. Not that we were angry with him. No point. It was God everyone was angry at. The thunder and lightning, the stupid waves. We rode a monster. Will you shut up with that? Tim said listlessly. Sorry, said Skip. So everyone is mad at God, obviously. And we are still playing with, is it fate? Is it God? Is it chance? Is it luck? And you can kind of see why I made a point at the beginning of him saying, I was destined to go to sea. Everything that was happened had to have happened. It was meant to happen. You know, there was no way I couldn't go to sea. Everything that happened was just going to. And he has that kind of like this old man, like, resigned to it.
So everybody's blaming pretty much everything except for their own choices that they made, I guess.
Yeah. It's all Skip's fault. It's all God's fault. Mr. Rainey died. He went first. Jan goes next. He's the Chinese sailor on board. They bury him at sea. We're down to 10 men now. John Copper goes next. he's the kid who
He got attacked by the dragon first, didn't he?
The dragon was walking behind him.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and he's the kid who got upset about the snake. He goes next, and no one says anything about it, but the captain and Wilson Pride butcher him, and he's the first one that they eat. They light a fire and drink from the cup full of blood, and they eat until they're full. And so we begin what in hindsight, very obviously going to happen. And rereading it for the third time, this time to do my script, you see where she's been laying out what's going to happen along the way. Because we saw the Komodo dragons, about a dozen of them, eating their own and chewing it to bits until there's only bone left. And discussions of the Essex and how that story was where they resorted to cannibalism to survive.
Yeah, laying quite a bit of groundwork. Putting people in what one could argue is like the natural state, maybe.
Yeah, and it's like taking them to their animal desperate state. And it's just really, really sad. It's just brutally sad. Dan is like, don't look, boys, just turn your heads away. He tries to get them to sing a song so they don't have to listen to the butchering. He's like so desperately trying to protect these boys. And he feels like a father to them. And they're like turning away, trying to remember the words to the song, trying not to think about it. And then
That's
Gabriel,
some really strong characterization for that character. Like the absolute worst situation, and you're trying to preserve the morality of two kids.
These two kids, the tiniest bit of innocence. And like, don't think about it. It's just me. Just drink. Don't think about it. And Gabriel's like, I can't. I'm gonna throw up. And they're like, you have to. You'll die. You have to. And he finally does, and he gags, and it's like so brutally sad. Look out there, said Dan. He put his arms around me and Tim. My boys, he said, and tears ran from the brown corners of his small, sad eyes. My boys, I'll take you home safe, one way or another. Didn't I promise old Jamrach I'd bring his boys safe home? Like, that's what's holding his sanity together. Is holding on to these two boys he's known since they were tiny. He's the one who gave the telescope to Tim. And has known Tim since he was a tot. And then the telescope went to Jaff. And, like, they've seen him in and out working with him. So Dan is just, like, desperately trying to hold it together. And in his mind, it's like, if I can get these two safe, get these two boys home, we'll be okay. That's like, in his mind, nobody else matters. Nothing else matters. This is what he has to do to keep himself together. They finally actually run out of food. The captain's bread ran out and the meat ran out. Boils erupted. Our skin became volcanic. We waited for Wilson Pride to die. Yes, we did. We knew he'd be the next to go. That's what we'd come to now, wishing it, hoping, as he lay there burning in his dry sweat, his blue-black tongue pushing through between his lips. So we progressively go through intense descriptions of every single one, dying and being butchered and then being eaten.
At this point, we've shed all empathy, and it's becoming almost predatory.
Yeah, like we're just waiting. We're waiting for rescue. We're waiting for ships. We're waiting for islands or whales, anything. And we're waiting for the guy across from me to die so I can eat him and drink his blood.
Rough.
I skipped so much for you. I skipped so much. Dag is next. Well, he's one of the next. I don't think I don't go through every single one. She does. The book does, but I don't.
That's fine.
Dag is sweating blood. What a day that was, the day of Dag's dying. He wouldn't stay down. Up and down like a jack-in-the-box. His voice came and went, sometimes silent for a whole hour at a time, and you'd wonder if he'd gone. But no, then you'd hear his awful breath still scraping at the world like claws trying to hold on. Skip was going barmy too, sniveling sulkily like a big stupid kid, occasionally shouting about a thing that walked alongside us on the water, a hoofed thing like a goat and a man and a fish all at once. He said it grinned and was stalking us. Still, we were all mad in our own different ways, sitting there helpless, with the sea still twinkling like eternity everywhere, with never a sail or an island or a rock or a bird even. Mid-afternoon, Dag's voice went peculiar, and he dies.
Yeah.
So Jeff has watched these men die and been waiting for them to die. And he turns and he looks at Dan and he says, Dan, what's the best way to kill yourself?
Dark.
The man who's here, whose only goal in life is to keep me alive to get home. The man who's now father to me.
Ooh, damn.
And Dan says, shoot yourself. Would you give me the pistol? Would I? I wonder. I don't know, Jeff.
It's like, yeah, I don't know. This might be the best idea for you. I'm not sure at this point. Ooh. Man, harrowing stuff.
They sing, they dream, they hallucinate, they don't know if they're dreaming or awake. The other boat drifts away, they lose them. There's no strength to sail, to row, to do anything. There's only strength to sit up, look, and lay down and sleep. The other boat's gone that had like 3 people on it, the captain and a couple others. So now there's 4. Jaff, Tim, Dan, and Skip. There's a few days of water left, a piece of hardtack the size of a matchbox. They finish, and they wait, and they wait.
Wait for the next person to be their meal.
Tim says they should draw lots. And Dan says, no, let's wait. And Tim says, wait for what? Why? Wait for what?
Yeah, there's no hope left at this point.
There's a couple of us might make it if the other couple get eaten. Because at this point, they've been on the boats for, I think, about 2 months. And it really feels like every single day has a page devoted to it, because this is 100 pages. Tim puts marks on paper, 2 marks. One for the one who'll be eaten and one who has to do it. Finally, they get Dan to agree, and he's sobbing like a baby, because he's like...
I have to murder one of these kids.
Like, because he's like, no, we can't do this. And then Tim's like, but you have a family. And Dan's like, oh shit, I do. He's the only one with like kids and a wife at home.
God, that's real fucked up math.
Yeah. And that's why Tim's like, this is fair. This is the only way to make this genuinely fair, is to rip up pieces of paper, put marks, and draw the lots. And then whoever's turn it is, it was their turn to go.
Damn, the kid's wild, but he's got a point.
Yeah. Pages and pages of pathos. Sadness, despair. Okay, we agree. They finally all agree. Tim gets the mark to be eaten, and Jaff gets the one to kill him.
Yeah. Killing your best friend so you can eat them. Love it.
Yeah. And Dan is like, no, I don't, and no. And Tim is like, we're equals. We're all equals. We're just men here. We've agreed. This is what it is. And he tells Jaff, tell Ma I'm fine.
Damn. Ooh. God, that's rough.
And Dan tells Jaff, like, don't watch, don't look. And he's like, no, because he has to look and make sure he gets him straight through the skull.
Right. Yeah.
And he gets it right, and he doesn't fuck up. So he pulls the trigger. Like they say, fair's all square. Yep, best friends. Yep, okay. Because he's been a shit to him. Tim knows he's a shit.
Yeah.
But they're
still friends.
They're still friends. They still love each other.
God damn it. Why couldn't it have been Skip?
Yeah.
Skip sucks.
Everyone hates Skip.
Yeah.
Skip sucks. But fair
so
is fair.
That's why it had to be Tim.
Yeah. And so they pull a trigger, they cut off his head and drop it overboard, because that's his burial. And they cut him up and they eat him raw, because they don't have anything
for a fire
anymore. Jaff gets an arm bone, and he hangs onto the arm bone. And that's him hanging on to Tim.
That's his keepsake from his best friend.
Because he has his arm bone, and he sucks his marrow out.
Ah.
And he feels like Tim's a ghost in the boat. And he's like, he's still there. Yeah. And Skip he's like, he is. I can see him right there. And Dan's like, he is. He kept us alive. And everyone's in madness, and the world is upside down, and they're all hallucinating, but they are kept alive for a couple more days. They drank blood. They ate flesh. They have had enough sustenance to make it a couple more days.
Wild tangent. How long would it take for you to eat, like, one of your friends?
I would probably try to kill myself first. Like, I don't think I would be able to hang on to reality that long. Kind of like, you know how it's the whole survival, the end of the world, zombie apocalypse, or atomic bomb drop? I've always just thought, no, I would please kill me in the blast. I do not want to try to survive.
What about this situation?
This specific situation, I have no idea. I'm human and animal like everyone else.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I would probably...
If I had to eat Lily, I would kill myself.
Yeah.
I would slit my own throat.
Lily for me is like I can eat anybody else.
I could eat you.
I could eat you. I could eat my parents. I couldn't eat Lily.
I could eat you. I could not eat
I don't know if I could eat your
Lily.
kids.
No.
I'd feel a little fucked up about that probably.
I could not eat my kids.
But 100% could not eat Lily.
No, could not eat Lily. That would be yeah. Like there's just some people where it would be like I'd rather be dead than without them.
Yeah.
Like,
I've thought about that. I've thought about that a lot actually, because it used to be, once they're dead, even if Lily died of something like totally unrelated, I still couldn't I still wouldn't be able to eat her.
yeah, no.
But it used to be I had no compunction about eating any corpse. It's just a corpse.
Right.
Who cares?
Right.
But it's just different for Lily, I guess. In my eyes.
She is our special baby who we love forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, you don't know what you would be like in those situations. You don't know how desperate you would get.
Yeah.
And how animal you would become. You know, and so we can think through, oh, I would do this, I would do that, I would do the other. But it's kind of like when I got burned. I had no idea how I would react. I never thought about it. Then when it happened, I didn't feel pain from it until like 20 or 30 minutes later when they took Amy out of my arms, and then suddenly I felt like I was on fire because I didn't even notice I was in pain or burned. You know, so you just have no idea the level
How
of
you're going
desperation.
to react in a desperate situation. Yeah.
Skip starts getting in a bad way.
Yeah.
His legs swell up like balloons, and he's obviously on his way out.
Yeah.
No need to draw lots. Wait for him. Skip starts, he's been hallucinating all along the way. But now he's sharing hallucinations with them, kind of. Like, everyone's sharing hallucinations.
Oh, that's fun.
Skip hauled his eyes onto me like heavy sacks. I know what you're thinking, he said. No, you don't. I know everything. His eyes changed, made a sideways flip from anger to horror. It wasn't him looking out from his eyes. You want me to die, he said. I do not. Sit down, said Dan, pulling on his shirt. You want to kill me. I do not. I didn't. I wanted to smash his face in, though, for making me remember how I killed Tim. I killed Tim. Sounds stupid, but I only realized it at that moment.
Yeah.
It was like falling from a great height. I killed Tim, I said, sick to my stomach. And it's like now, just now. And so we have pages and pages of I killed Tim. Wait, he's actually dead. I killed my friend.
I feel like
my best friend.
I feel like that's really accurate because, like, in my experience, you can kind of turn off your empathy for a little bit to deal with something like that. But then when it turns on, it's on.
And going through just all the shock and horror, you know, and the hallucinations and everything.
Yeah.
Skip finally dies because he's just giving way to
mania and psychosis.
Lack of water, lack of calories, everything, sun poisoning, all of it. Skip dies. It's his turn. Smash, hatchet, dog's lick, marrow, close eyes, close eyes.
Almost machine at this point.
Like he's an animal or a dog, just desperate, and anything is comfort. Jeff hallucinates. He sees the horned goat animal that's chasing them. The world is spinning. The sun is the sky is the sun. The ocean is above them and below them and everywhere. Like, they are obviously dying effectively themselves now.
Yeah.
And they even joke about, like, well, what are we going to do when it's the last two of us? They have no strength left to do anything except lay there. And then there's voices. They get picked up by a ship, and it's just Dan and Jeff. Similar to the tiger picking him up, we don't know what happens. We're experiencing it with him, and it's blurry and movement and sun and sky and spinning and faces. Yeah. But they're rescued. And then he gets told later it was 65 days and they got picked up by a ship. The news goes ahead of them. And so everyone knows what happened. And they finally take away the arm bone from him and they don't let him keep it. They let him keep a couple knuckle bones.
Yeah, I get it.
Because that's what he has left of his friends.
Yeah.
But they take the bones that are in the boat and bury them at sea.
Yeah.
Give them a burial.
Probably the best.
And then we skip 8 months. Well, we skip weeks. I'm actually not sure. I'm not sure how many weeks it is. We don't go through the refeeding. We don't go through waking up or eating.
He's back to health, relatively speaking.
Right. It just happens and we skip all of that. And I would imagine that would be interesting to read, but like she did when Jaff was little, it's like that's not what she's interested in telling, so we just completely skip it.
Yeah.
Jaff goes home, eventually makes his way off the boat to go see his ma. He's like dragging his feet. He doesn't want to. And then she gets home, he goes home, she feeds him, he crawls into bed, and he basically has a depression for 8 months and spends most of his time in bed. And that's just what you would expect.
Yeah.
People try to come and talk to him. He sends them away. They're like, what are you going to do?
I don't want to tell you about me eating my best friend.
And everyone already knows.
Yeah.
Like, everyone already knows he ate his best friend. And he needs to go back and see Tim's family, and he doesn't want to. They have money because Fledge, the man who owned the boat, sent money for them because Dan told the whole story. So, like, he's not going to be, like... Destitute because he's not working.
Right.
His mom had a baby with her new boyfriend, so there's like a little toddler running around, and that kind of helps him because he's like, his mom doesn't bug him if he'll sit there and watch the toddler, and it's something to do, but it's not like he's doing anything.
Yeah.
He can just kind of sit there and watch the kid and make sure it doesn't kill itself. So he's just kind of a blob for a while.
Yeah.
He finally goes and sees Mrs. Linver, Tim's mom, and Ishbel. They're upset because he was supposed to bring home Tim, but they also are sad because Tim's dead, and they also are glad he's alive and complicated and emotional and messy.
Yeah. How much do they know about the situation?
They know he killed Tim and that they ate him.
Okay.
Everyone knows and nobody judges him, which I kind of feel like he would get looks on the street.
Yeah, I don't know I don't know that he would get no judgment.
Right.
I feel like it's morally correct that he shouldn't get judgment, but people be how people be.
Yeah, and especially since we had built up so strongly in the middle of the book that once a cannibal, always a cannibal. Once an animal, always an animal.
Yeah.
This is part of their nature. And then it suddenly, he's just home. He's just back to eating soup and eggs and fish and he's fine.
Could it be racism?
Could be. Yeah. And I felt like that I was expecting more follow through from some of that, like, stuff we'd been setting up. But honestly, the middle of the book feels like its own book, and the beginning and end feel like they're a completely own separate book. Like, I don't feel like there's connectivity between the two really well.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of still, like, feels like he's dreaming. He doesn't feel like he's home. He avoids Ishbel because he doesn't want to see her. She's engaged to somebody else now, and he's just, like, all out of sorts. He goes back to that chapel and he lights candles for the crew, and he feels like he needs to say every single crewman's name and remember them so that they're still there. And so I kind of, you kind of just have this, like, grieving period where he's just out of sorts.
Yeah.
Goes and sees Dan, doesn't know what to do. So he goes back to sea, gets on a boat and heads to Spain. And we skip that part because that's not important either, apparently. And then he eventually comes back and opens like a little shop where he builds bird cages and has a little aviary where people can pay a penny and come in and sit in the big aviary and watch birds fly around. And he'll sell the birds with the little cages. And he kind of semi-retires from the ocean. And one day Ishbel comes and looks in the shop and she never leaves. They are married.
Oh. All right.
Yeah. Dan and Jeff agreed, like, before people ever showed up, or, like, briefly after, that they were never going to talk about the aura. Like, they're never going to admit to having caught and found the dragon.
Yeah, because everyone will just be like, oh, you're crazy.
Or, well, they felt like it would bring bad luck.
Ah.
Like, if they
So
brought it
they
with
kept
them.
that superstition.
Yes.
After
So by
all this
dropping the dragon and pretending it never existed, they were able to
no
shed
longer-
the bad luck, and it can't hurt them anymore.
Oh.
Yeah. And I kind of like, I don't think it's in the book, but I kind of felt like, I wonder, maybe the dragon made it back to its home after 60 days, and that's when they got picked up.
That'd be funny.
I know. Who knows?
Yeah.
And so then he just semi-retires and is just known as kind of the eccentric guy who hides out in his shop and makes little bird cages. I do kind of like how he deals with the survivor's guilt and some of like the PTSD stuff. Quote, I was sick of people telling me how lucky I was. I didn't feel lucky. If there was a God, I thought he must be a twisted sort. All of them gone and all that pain and fear, and it was not a one of them deserved it. You know, and that just feels true to like the survivor's guilt, and he's lucky, but he's not lucky.
Yeah.
It screwed up everything. It screwed up his life and him, you know?
Yeah. I know I've heard it a lot, people saying, oh, you're very lucky, it could have been worse. And I'm like, well, I also could have just not gotten blown the fuck up. So.
Yep, it could have just not happened and not been years of
So I
medical
don't,
bills and trauma.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good luck or a bad luck thing. I think shit just happens sometimes.
Yeah, and it just sucks. So he has kids with Ish and retires, and at the end of the book, he's telling the story to somebody who's writing it down, and he's just kind of a piece of history that is from a previous era, and that's about it. And I understand that in real life, you have the disaster, and then afterwards, people have to pick it up and survive, and life after the disaster is not fun or interesting. It's just depressing and sad and hard to get through.
Yeah.
But we had such a depressing middle of the book, and I was wanting relief at the end of this book, and I didn't feel it.
I feel like a poignant end would have been if he went to the zoo and by that time somebody had caught another Komodo dragon. And he could have had like some kind of moment. Like he's already had it in his head. He's like pushed it away and he goes to the zoo, sees this dragon after all these years, and like maybe would like come to a realization like, oh, it's just another animal.
Right.
Or have a heart attack and die at the zoo.
And, you know, we just dealt with the limitations of he's the one telling the story, so he's the narrator, and these are his memories. So not the things that happen aren't necessarily true. I mean, no, we're in a fictional world, but they don't necessarily aren't what happened.
Yeah.
It's what he perceived to have happened.
Right.
And some of the emotional stuff is really brutal.
Yeah.
This book was part of my inspiration for this podcast.
Yeah.
Because I found this book at the Dollar Tree when Amy was like a year or two old. And actually it was within a year after I got blown up and was severely scarred and traumatized and full of my PTSD.
Yeah.
And it looks like a fun whaling adventure on the front.
Yeah.
And then I read it, and it was like getting kicked in the face.
Yeah.
And that is one of the few books I've ever thrown in the trash.
You won't hurt anybody again.
That's exactly what Jay said. Like, I literally was like, this book, I cannot give it to Goodwill. I cannot put it in a free library. Into the garbage you go. Because it was so emotionally devastating and so gruesome and not what I thought I was getting. And there's no content warnings or hints at the beginning that if you are in a bad PTSD way, maybe don't read this book.
Yeah, maybe don't.
So, yeah, that was this is one I remember 10 years later, how clearly upset I was after reading it. But I also had to read to the end and find out what happened. I could not set it down.
Yeah. This is going to be me when I finally do, that one book. Was that Western I was having like a minor breakdown about?
Oh, you've talked about it. I don't remember the name.
But yeah, what do you think this one is letter grade wise?
If you're in the mood to get kicked in the head, it's an A+. I mean, it did have limitations, and it got really heavy and heavy-handed sometimes. It felt overdone. So many adjectives and so repetitive. But if that's the style of writing you enjoy, it's really good. It's just fucking awful.
Oh, Blood Meridian. Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy.
Yeah.
This is going to be the level, like, whenever I can finally come back around to it in, like, 5 years.
Yeah.
Because I read it a few years ago and tried to read it this year, and I couldn't handle it. I was planning on doing it for a report on the podcast, and I fucking can't yet.
Yeah.
Maybe one day, but no time soon.
Yeah. Like emotionally, this is like a D. Like, this is so upsetting and sad, and you have to be in the right mood or be prepared.
Like in a self-destructive mood.
Yes. I don't know if you ever have this, but do you ever get the feeling like when you need a good cry, where you need to watch a movie that will be so sad you will cry your eyeballs out, and then you feel better? And that's what you needed, was a big, big cry.
No.
Sometimes I have that. This is the kind of thing that would satisfy that need, to have a big emotional cry, get it out of your system, and then you feel better.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly normal, and I think I can't. I cry fucked up.
Well, Jay doesn't experience that with novels or stuff either.
Yeah, but like anytime I do cry, immediate migraine, because there's something in me that can't quite let it out. And it's just like a lot of pressure built up. So yeah, I try to avoid crying whenever possible.
So the writing, it was on the short list for the 2011 Man Booker Prize. And it's interesting. The reviews that I was reading are really torn.
Yeah.
There's loads of 5 stars, there's loads of 2 stars, and a lot of people are like, I was not expecting what happened in the middle. I would not suggest this for people. Do not read this to your kids.
When was this written?
2011. It came out like 2010, 2011, yeah.
Oh, for some reason I was thinking it was like almost contemporary with its time, with the time period and the setting.
Nope, much more recent.
Wow.
And I haven't read anything else by her. I might. You know, she's not someone who's I'm like, I'll never read anything you write.
I'm very interested in reading this. I might.
You should. You'll have to tell me what you thought, and if I did it justice. Because I was trying really hard to skip the unnecessary detail and just give you the core of what I felt was so emotionally interesting.
Yeah.
And why that part was so gut-wrenching. But there's a lot I skipped. And there's a lot of characters I even skipped.
Yeah.
So you would find a lot of things in there to be interesting. And so it's a 5-star and a 1-star at the same time.
Yeah. The duality of the podcast.
Yeah, but that was my emotionally bad one. And I haven't done that for a while.
Yeah, well, that was a good one.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing the report. Thank you, listeners, for listening. And if you want to suggest another harrowing disaster where people eat each other and there's a Komodo dragon and everyone's like tripping balls at the end, suggest it to us at Blue Sky. It's I can't remember what it is.
Bugs-BiblioWrecks at podcast.
Yeah. Or at our
email.
BiblioWrecks@gmail.com.
Yes.
Yeah.
BiblioWrecks at Gmail.
And let us know about your awful reads.
Because, sometimes a bad book isn't badly written. It just rips your heart out and stomps on it.
Yeah, I mean, there's Dirty Liar.
Yeah,
I did that one
that's what I was
ago.
thinking, that this would be my Dirty Liar. Just,
Yeah.
Oh man, I've been reading this since the beginning of last week, and I'm like, I need to go look at pictures of puppies.
Yeah.
Well, see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye. Don't eat your friends.
Well, I mean, maybe your friends. It's context specific. You'll figure it out.
Bye.